Hi everyone. Hi, welcome again. Welcome again to the Silver family. How is your day going? I hope your day is going well. Yeah, today I'll be sharing my story, my journey with Down syndrome. Um, I would like to share this, put out my story out there. The reason for putting out my story is I don't know somebody out there who who is in the condition I was 8 years ago and I am still in today. Um, Yeah, I'm going to start by telling from the onset, right from my pregnancy. Um, yeah, I I was in Africa. I went to Africa. I've lived in Europe for a very long time. Then I went to Africa for a visit because I have a son, an elder son, older than my middle child, the one that is living with Down syndrome. And I was somewhere else in Europe, and I decided to migrate to come to the United Kingdom. Well, coming to the United Kingdom, I was coming on my own. So for me to enable myself, for me to be able to like fit in without no too much stress, I had to take my 6-year-old son that I had. He was 6 years old when I took him to Africa to stay with my mom and my younger sister while I settle in the UK before I go get him. So after I left him, I came back and I came to the UK. It didn't happen immediately. It took me some years to be able to relocate to the UK. So fast forward to when I felt pregnant, in one of my visits to see him, because I went to Africa from the UK a couple of times to visit my son, to know how he was doing, because I wasn't ready to bring him back as I've not really settled to look after him when he comes over. So during one of my visits, I felt pregnant, and in that very visit, yeah, I think, sorry, in that very, I used to visit him a lot, yeah, like twice a year or more, and during that visit, it was for me to, I was beginning to settle in the UK, so it was for me to bring him back to like process, because he didn't go to Africa with a passport. He didn't have like the nationality to just get board a flight and come back. And he had a 5 years resident in the country I was living. So before I could settle to the I could settle myself to be able to have him with me, his 5 years resident that he took to African expired. And a visit before the visit, I decided I went to bring him. That I felt pregnant. I felt it's time for him to come and join me. So I came back. I prepared myself, did the necessary documentation, and I went for him. So bringing him back was not just like buying tickets and just getting on the flight and coming back to the UK. What happened was that I had to do another fresh process for his visa, and I had to get him back. But this process took a very long time. So when I was starting the process, that is when I felt pregnant. So, and I couldn't bring him to the UK directly. I had to take him to the European country where I was, it was easier for me to get a visa for him to go back to the European country where I was living before I came to the UK. So I did the process, and when I came back, I went to register for my antenatal. So I was attending every appointment I had, but I was on and off because I was going to the country where I used to reside. No, after 2 months when I left, they gave him a visa to come back to the country where I I I used to reside. So coming back to the UK, everything was going fine with the pregnancy until my son um, came into Europe via the country where I used to reside. So I have now to go to the country and settle some stops for him to be able to from that country and join me. So back and forth during those process, um, That is when I think I missed an appointment where I could have been told that my son have Down syndrome. But you know what? I am grateful to God today that I didn't know when I was pregnant, because I don't know if he would have been here. I wouldn't know how I would have felt. So what happened is that when I gave birth to him, fast forward to the day of his birth, when I gave back to him, in the hospital, it was through cesarean. So everywhere they pull him out of my tummy, and because I was awake, I had epidural. So he cried. Everything looks fine to me. Then my son was 13 years old, so he was already in the UK with me. So when they pulled him out of my stomach, they told me everything was. They just said, "Oh, congratulations, you have a bouncing baby boy," and I was happy. So I went to like where I have to be to recover fully to be able to go to the normal ward. That was for a few hours because I had no complications with the birth. Then they now came. When they transferred me to the ward, they came in the morning. They came in the morning the next day, and the doctor said to me, "Hello." I thought it was a normal routine. So the doctor came and said, "Hello, hi." He said, "Miss Silverline, please, I need to speak with you." And I said, "Okay." He said, "Have you looked at your son?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "Did you notice anything?" I said, "No." I said, "Do you have other children?" I said, "Yes, one." He said, "Okay, well, it's like your son here has his facial look." He didn't tell me straight away that he has Down syndrome. He said his facial look, his eyes, the bridge on his nose looks like he has Down syndrome, but they have to run some tests. So for that reason, I didn't go home I myself didn't have complications, but because they needed to run a lot of tests to know if he has it. In fact, on the spot, he told me that they need to do a whole lot of tests, so they had to keep me in the hospital. So I stayed in the hospital for a while, and I was so emotional. In fact, when he told me that, as soon as he left my room, the way I grabbed my son and I looked at his face, I started looking at him, and I started crying. I cried, but surprisingly, I only cried for about 15 minutes. I was shivering. I didn't know. My whole world came crumbling. I didn't know what I just heard. So I now pick up my son, started examining him, looking at him. So they now kept me in the hospital. I became so down that I was singing, praying loud in the ward that they kept me. So they had to my prayers, the things I was saying was like disturbing people in the world. So they had to put me in a separate room with my son. And after a while, I wasn't coping well. They had to discharge me. So the rest of the test was done at but then they told me before they discharged me that I should promise that I have to bring back the boy to the hospital anytime they asked me to bring him. And this was like almost every day. In fact, in a week, I have to be in hospital for like 5 times. So I was going, and doctors were coming to my house. They were checking everything. People from Great Hormone Hospital, different kind of specialists. Some of them will come. Some of them will be an appointment. I had a lot of referrals. I was so confused. It was too much for me to take. But how did I cope? How did I cope? I'm going to my coping, I think, because like I said, I cried for just 15 minutes, and I told God that I'm never going to cry over this child again. So I'm going to stop here for now. I will continue with the story in the next episode. So if this is your first time of subscribing and of coming through this page, please subscribe to this page and wait for more episode of this story, and I'll be sharing many other activities with my son. This is the Silver family again. Please share, recommend. We might be helping somebody who is passing through this kind of situation or in denial at the moment. Please, let's share and create awareness for people who are living with Down syndrome. This is Silver family again. Subscribe and share and recommend to your friends. Thank you very much. Bye.